Emily sat quietly by the window, watching the rainy countryside pass by. The bus engine hummed steadily, a strange comfort in the silence of her thoughts. She clutched her small bag tightly on her lap, the only thing left from her old life in her hometown. Her phone was off. No more messages, no more calls, just peace, and maybe a new beginning. She didn't cry anymore. That part was over. The tears had dried the night she packed her suitcase and made the decision to leave. Start over, she had whispered to herself, over and over again. But starting over was harder than she thought. It wasn't just a city she was leaving, it was memories, routines, love, or at least what she thought was love. The bus was half empty. An old man 2 rows ahead was sleeping with his head tilted back. A woman near the back was knitting slowly, her needles clicking softly. Emily felt invisible, but in a way, it was nice. No one expected anything from her. She could just exist, breathe, and think. Outside, the rain had softened into a mist. Trees looked blurred, like a watercolor painting. She thought of her grandmother, who always said, "Rain washes pain away." Maybe that's why she liked rainy days. They made her feel clean, like the past couldn't follow her. Only the present mattered now. The driver announced the next stop, Gray Hill Final Destination. Her stomach turned. This was it. A new city with new streets, people, smells, sounds. She didn't know anyone there. No job yet. No apartment ready. Just a small hostel booked for 3 nights and a few saved coins in her purse. And yet, for the first time in weeks, she smiled. Just a little. Because she was brave. Because she was moving. As the bus slowed down, Emily closed her eyes for a second. She breathed in deeply, then opened them with a spark she hadn't felt in a long time. The bus doors opened, and with quiet steps, she walked into her new life. The city felt big and strange. Buildings stood tall around her, and cars moved quickly through the wet streets. Emily walked slowly, her shoes making soft splashes in the puddles. She held a piece of paper in her hand with the hostel address written on it. Her phone had no internet. Everything felt like a puzzle. She asked a woman for help. "Excuse me," she said. "Do you know this street?" The woman smiled kindly. "Yes, it's 2 blocks that way," she said, pointing. Emily thanked her and continued walking. Just hearing someone speak nicely gave her a little strength. Maybe this city wasn't so cold after all. The hostel was a small yellow building with a blue door. It looked old, but cozy. A sign on the door said "Welcome, travelers." Inside, the air smelled like coffee and fresh bread. The receptionist was a young man with curly hair and glasses. "Hello," he said cheerfully. "You must be Emily." She nodded. "Yes, I have a reservation for 3 nights." He checked the computer and handed her a key. "Room 5, second floor. Breakfast is from 7 to 10. Let us know if you need anything." Emily smiled for the first time that day. "Thank you," she said softly. Her room was small but clean. A bed, a desk, and a window with white curtains. She placed her bag on the floor and sat down. She looked around, breathing deeply. No noise, no stress, no memories from before. It was her space now, a quiet place to think and plan. She took out her notebook and wrote a list. 1. Find a job. 2. Visit the library. 3. Explore the neighborhood. 4. Call mom tomorrow. Just writing those words made her feel calm. She didn't need to solve everything today, just one step at a time. She looked out the window. The rain had stopped, and the sky was turning orange. A new day was coming, and Emily was ready to begin. The next morning, Emily woke up early. Sunlight passed gently through the white curtains, warming the small room. For the first time in a long while, she felt rested. She got dressed, brushed her hair, and went downstairs for breakfast. The smell of toast and coffee filled the air. In the dining area, a few other guests were already eating. A man with a backpack smiled and said, "Good morning." Emily smiled back. "Good morning." It felt good to speak, even just 2 words. She took some toast, fruit, and tea, then sat at a small table near the window. Outside, the street was alive. People walked with purpose. Dogs barked. Bikes passed by. It all felt new and beautiful. After breakfast, she took her notebook and stepped out for her first walk. The streets were clean, lined with small shops and cafes. She saw a bookstore, a bakery, and a little flower shop with colorful plants in front. The city felt more welcoming now, less strange, more human. She stopped at a park. There were trees, benches, and a small fountain. Children were playing, laughing loudly. A woman nearby sat reading a book. Emily sat on a bench and watched. She listened to the sounds, footsteps, birds, distant music. She smiled. She felt part of it, even if just a little. She opened her notebook and wrote, "This city is kind." She underlined the words. As she continued walking, she noticed a board outside a cafe. It said, "We are hiring friendly staff needed." Her heart jumped. Maybe this was a sign. She looked through the window. It was a cozy place. Warm lights, wooden tables, friendly atmosphere. She wasn't ready to go in yet, but tomorrow, maybe she would. She walked back to the hostel slowly, feeling something new inside her, not fear, not sadness. It was something softer, hope. For the first time, she didn't feel like a visitor. She felt like someone who could belong. The next morning, Emily stood in front of the cafe door. Her hands were a little cold, even though the sun was shining. She looked at the sign again. "We are hiring." She took a deep breath, smiled at her reflection in the window, and pushed the door open. Inside, the cafe smelled like cinnamon and fresh coffee. Soft music played in the background. A woman with curly hair stood behind the counter. She looked up and smiled. "Hello, can I help you?" Emily walked slowly to the counter. "Hi, my name is Emily. I saw your sign. I'd like to apply for the job." The woman wiped her hands on a towel and came around the counter. "Nice to meet you, Emily. I'm Rosa. Are you new in town?" Emily nodded. "Yes, I arrived yesterday." Rosa smiled warmly. "Welcome. We always need good people here. Do you have experience?" Emily hesitated a little. "I worked in a small bakery in my hometown. I served customers, made coffee, cleaned tables." Rosa nodded. "That's good. Can you speak English well?" Emily smiled nervously. "I'm learning. Every day I try to improve." Rosa laughed gently. "That's the spirit. We can help you learn more. We speak slowly here." They sat at a table near the window. Rosa asked a few more questions: where Emily was staying, how many hours she could work, if she liked people. Emily answered honestly. She said she didn't know the city well, but she was ready to learn. Rosa seemed to like that. After a short pause, Rosa stood up. "Emily, Would you like to start tomorrow morning? Just a trial day to see how it goes. Emily's eyes widened. Yes, thank you so much. Rosa smiled again. We'll take it step by step, one day at a time. As Emily walked back to the hostel, she felt light, like something inside her had opened. It wasn't just about the job. It was about being seen, being trusted. That night she wrote in her notebook, "Today, I said yes to life." Emily arrived at the cafe early. The streets were still quiet, and the air smelled fresh. She wore her cleanest shirt and had tied her hair back neatly. Rosa welcomed her with a smile and handed her a small apron. "Let's start with something easy," she said. "You'll take orders and bring coffee to the tables." At first, everything felt confusing. The menu had many words Emily didn't know. Cappuccino, espresso, latte, so many kinds of coffee. But she listened carefully, took notes in her notebook, and asked questions. Rosa was patient. "Don't worry," she said. "We all make mistakes in the beginning." The first customer smiled and said, "One cappuccino, please." Emily repeated the order, wrote it down, and brought it to the barista. She felt proud. She did it. But 10 minutes later, she brought the wrong drink to the wrong table. The man frowned. "I didn't order this," he said. Emily's heart dropped. She apologized softly and hurried back to the counter. Rosa helped her fix the order and whispered, "It's okay, Emily. Just breathe. It happens to everyone." Emily nodded, but her cheeks were red. She wanted to be perfect. She wanted to show she could do this. But perfection doesn't come on the first day. Later, she dropped a spoon. It clattered loudly on the floor. Then, she spilled a little milk while cleaning a table. Each time, Rosa reminded her with a smile, "It's just part of learning." At the end of the shift, Emily sat on a bench outside, tired but calm. Rosa joined her. "You did great today," she said. Emily looked at her, surprised. "But I made so many mistakes." Rosa laughed. "Yes, and you learned from each one. That's what matters." Emily looked at the street, the people walking, the sky turning gold with the sunset. She felt different, not perfect, but proud. She opened her notebook and wrote, "I'm not here to be perfect. I'm here to grow." 1 week had passed since Emily's first day at the cafe. She now knew how to take orders without panic. She could carry 3 cups at once and even remembered the names of a few regular customers. Each day brought new words, new faces, and little victories. One morning, an old woman came in. She looked nervous and confused. "This is my first time here," she said slowly. Emily smiled and replied, "Don't worry, I'll help you." She spoke gently, showing the menu and explaining each drink. The woman ordered a tea and said, "You're very kind." Emily's heart warmed. At lunchtime, a tourist couple asked her for directions to the nearest museum. She explained clearly, using simple words and hand gestures. They smiled and thanked her. Emily realized something beautiful. Her English wasn't perfect, but it was useful. It connected her to people. It helped. Later that afternoon, she sat by the window during her break. She looked outside and saw the same street that once felt cold and strange. But now, she recognized things. The bakery, the flower shop, the park. This place was no longer foreign. It was slowly becoming home. That evening, she returned to the hostel and opened her notebook. She turned the pages and saw everything she had written. Small thoughts, goals, little lessons. She smiled and added a new sentence. I don't just speak new words, I live a new life. She closed the notebook and looked at the ceiling, feeling grateful. She had taken a bus with nothing but hope. She had made mistakes, asked questions, and said yes to things that scared her. And in doing that, she had opened a door not just to a new city, but to a better version of herself. The future was still uncertain. She didn't know what would happen next week or next year, but she knew one thing for sure. She would keep learning, keep growing, and keep moving forward. And that was enough.